Recently, I've been getting suggestions to voice my opinion on certain YouTubers who so happen to be social justice warriors and go on a narrative for their Thorian slash otherkin, gay people asking straight people questions, and the skeptic community. I want to give a good shout out to my fellow YouTube pals here and let them know that I will be doing this soon. The reason why I'm not doing it today is because there is one social justice warrior monstrosity that has really gotten my attention and I have to address. As a Westerner, I have to say that we shouldn't be allies with certain regions of the world. One place that we should simply point the finger at are the Gulf states of the Middle East. The history between the West and the Islamic world is a pretty violent one, and it's safe to say that we hated them. That masquerade still continues to this day, where the Arab powers fund terrorist groups to attack our homes and show their love and support for the regressive lefties in the West so that they can easily further their agenda. With YouTube being a battleground, they have made a social justice warrior channel which has a lot of money pushed into it, and it looks like a TV channel from the future. And that channel is AJ Plus. I made a video once on them before long ago, but now I will go in depth. This lovely TV channel works the following way. They are solely run and dictated by the Qatari Ministry of Truth, who then employ the social justice masses to appease like-minded people. It is quite clear that the Arabs don't see us as allies. Now, back to AJ Plus. Again, I couldn't decide what to respond to because there are so many retarded ideas that these people have. Like this video where they say that radical terrorism doesn't exist. I honestly don't know how they thought they could pull this off and get away with it, or when they say that the US should pay reparations to African Americans for slavery. Let's look deeper at that. A country that today has over 1 million people in actual slavery is going to lecture another country that abolished slavery over 150 years ago about the evils of slavery. In case anyone doesn't know, the Arabic word for hypocrisy is nafaq, and I would love to give that word to them as the Western world closes its doors to that vile corner of the earth. But today I want to go to a more recent video. I finished graduate school almost 4 years ago when I was 23, but now I would most definitely love to go back to the school, one that is solely dedicated to educating men. So let's pack our bags, ride the school bus, go to class, and enjoy a good ride in AJ Plus's man school.
Also something to keep in mind, pretty basic, but Louis C.K. Listen. Only under intimate situations caress knob. Great. It's been a year since the Me Too movement made headlines, and since then, we've realized that there are creeps everywhere.
Oh no, not the Me Too movement, the biggest piece of crap in the history of crap. And it's not like there are women who are creeps too, but hey, according to AJ Plus, that wouldn't be a fun video now, would it?
In Hollywood, on the news, in Orange Crocs, which we should have seen coming, and now on the Supreme Court, for a second time. It's caused many to redouble their efforts against sexual assault, and others to miss the point completely.
It's 2019 and we're back to this topic again. Do I really have to repeat the no normal man does any of this argument?
Beyond the trolls, though, some men are taking it upon themselves to right the wrongs exposed by the Me Too movement. Meet Matthew Solomon.
I am an empowerment coach. I specialize in relationships and communication.
Note to self, never listen to this cuck if I need relationship advice.
Man School covers topics like rape culture in movies, toxic masculinity, and issues that have stumped dudes for millennia, such as women are not men.
Well, no shit, women are not men. Do I really have to state the obvious here? Do I really have to go into it?
Things like harassment, gaslighting, whataboutism, and telling women their experiences don't matter. Yeah, we've been on the internet.
Yeah, I don't think anyone said any of that.
Do you find it ironic that you're a guy that has to explain all these things that women have been saying for years?
No,
Why not?
because I know that men haven't generally been listening to women for years,
So you're like mansplaining sexism, which is,
pretty much to men.
it's like good mansplaining. If you're mansplaining to men, maybe it's good. If a man's I don't know, I've got lost in the space continuum of sexism. Everything you're saying sounds great, but how do I know you're not like that guy who wears the feminist t-shirt, but then like is secretly kind of a creep?
Yeah. I'm not.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Lesson number 1, people. We're going to call it mansplaining instead of explaining because that makes sense. And it's okay for it to be done to men, but worthy of the death penalty when it's done to women.
Mansplaining is when a man explains something very obvious to a woman just because she's a woman.
Mansplaining isn't a thing. It's just explaining. And women do the same thing. Like when your mom walks up to you and explains something quite obvious, you yourself are womansplaining, and I have to say that women do it a lot worse than men.
Okay.
Okay, Matthew, let's put your methods to the test with a real man school. We gathered 7 dudes in a room on a Friday to give them a lesson in how to be one of the good guys in the Me Too era, and also to hear from them.
Welcome to Man School, unlearning 2,000 years of patriarchy.
We kind of need a woman's school with male teachers.
Thank you for being here.
I would love to know from each of you and what you hope to get out of today.
I realized how sexist I've been and not even realizing that that was a problem.
You know, it's been a continual process for me to learn how to interact with women, especially like compared to, I don't know, my freshman year of college where you get a ton of bad advice.
I've been getting close in relationships, but once I hit a certain point, I kind of screwed up.
I want to know from you guys, like,
These are all either male feminists or paid actors. I'm guessing that there will be no real sexism up next.
what are your fears?
Men are becoming uncomfortable in their own skin because of what we're seeing.
Really, I haven't noticed.
So is there a concern about where the line is, what you can or can't do?
You know, there are people who legitimately, when they interact sexually, play violence or something like that. I think that that's maybe one thing that some guys are worried about.
There is that fear, you know, hey, so you get with somebody in Palm Springs during a film festival and you have mad rockin' sex because you drank a bunch of Tito's and soda. You know what I'm saying?
Why does this example feel not hypothetical? That's okay, they're sharing.
Why do I get the feeling that she's considering this to be rape? This and this are not rape. If it's consensual, it's fine. Isn't that what you idiots have always been talking about?
Why isn't there like a consent app where like people could sign in and you just like yes or no, you know? I think that would be
I bet there is a consent app. I bet that exists.
You are really dumb.
Let me ask you this. What are some of the things that you as men do to ensure your safety on a daily basis?
Let me think. I try to avoid dodgy areas. I don't go out alone at night because, you know, men are more likely to get murdered than women. I make sure I drive safely. I learn how to defend myself. And if there's a war, I'm more likely to fight in it, so I have to be careful there.
I try to have different passwords for all of my websites.
Okay. So in regards to personal safety, women have shared 34 things that they do on a daily basis.
Want me to read these?
Yeah.
34 things in, this is...
For their personal safety.
Walk with our keys grasped between our fingers in case we need to use them as a weapon. Never leave a drink unattended at a party. Run across the street when we see men who look like they might be drunk. Definitely do that. Make sure we're not the only woman on the subway or bus. Avoid next to a light post when it's dark outside. Decide not to open Facebook messages from unknown men who could see the message that have been read and become hostile and harassing. Yes, you do become hostile.
You know that men are vulnerable to all those things too. And who on earth opens messages from people they don't know on social media?
Well, there's some ones that I kind of have questions about details on. Like, for example, if you do happen to be walking behind a woman at night, is it better to speed up and pass her, to slow down to build distance?
I mean, what about bells? Could also work. We have whistles, you have bells. Well, just a very merry sidewalk.
What kind of retarded question is this? Are you suggesting rape should be called when a guy is walking next to a woman? Are you kidding me? Are you saying the sidewalk should be segregated where women walk on one side and men walk on the other side? How is it that you're opposed to this segregation, but you're completely okay with this segregation?
What else can we do to make women feel safe?
Use our male privilege to call out problematic males.
Go out and affirmatively express your support when there's an issue that's being discussed that's of importance to women.
Some orange-haired knucklehead a couple weeks ago said it's a rough time for young men in this country.
Yeah, because it kind of is, and I don't need to go around explaining why.
Her experience is her experience. The thing that she's telling you, that's what happened.
So, in other words, this helpful acronym, BRA, believe rape account homie. Homie, we believe those rape accounts with heart, open-mindedness, intelligence, and empathy. So we're gonna put that into practice?
Yeah, let's put that into practice.
I have neither the will nor the time to explain the Believe All Women account, but Dr. Shaym made a very good video about it, and I left a link in the description below. Here is a snippet of that video.
Question. Have you ever worried that someone was lying about rape? Every single time a woman comes forward about having been abused by a beloved movie star, musician, TV star, YouTubers, that star's fans immediately accuse her of lying.
The fans of a particular celebrity will defend that celebrity from accusations of anything, not just rape. But when it comes to a rape accusation, you don't even have to actually do much. You just say a celebrity raped you and you get sympathy, everybody calls you brave for coming forward, you might even get interviewed on television, and you may even get people to donate money to you. And of course, seeing all that can be gained from it, a bunch of other people will naturally jump on the same bandwagon. And then suddenly that celebrity who's being accused of rape is now being accused by dozens of other people. Sure, maybe some of them are telling the truth, but then again, they do have a motivation to lie about it. If they don't provide any actual hard evidence, then there's really no way of knowing whether they're lying or telling the truth, especially when it's years after the supposed rape took place. But knowing what could be gained from making a false accusation coupled with a lack of evidence will naturally lead people to accuse them of lying, whether or not they're actually telling the truth. You know what the best part is? Even if the accusations are proven false and the accuser is shown to be a liar, they will more than likely not face any consequences for it. Now maybe they are telling the truth in some cases, but the thing is they're making a very serious accusation. An accusation which demands a high standard of evidence, because if the accusation leads to a conviction, the accused can be put in prison for a very long time. And even if they aren't convicted, the mere fact that they were accused at all can ruin their life because nobody will want to associate with them, even if they know they're innocent because they won't want to share the stigma. These types of accusations are met with skepticism because they cannot be taken lightly. Now, with all that said, I will say that I don't agree with the practice of labeling an accuser a liar. At least not until the evidence has been reviewed and has been proven that they lied. Innocent until proven guilty applies to both the accused and the accuser, and it's only proper to withhold judgment until there's adequate evidence to prove it one way or the other.
There are men's groups online that claim that women lie about rape 90% of the time. A sheriff in Idaho very recently claimed that they don't need a better system for rape kits which collect evidence because most victims are liars.
The majority of our rapes that are called in are actual consensual sex.
I've never heard a men's group claim that 90% of rape accusations are false. And of course you didn't provide a citation or an example. And no, one sheriff in the middle of nowhere doesn't count as a men's group. The highest I've ever heard from a men's group is 41%, and that comes from an often disputed report by Eugene J. Kanan of Purdue University in 1994. And even I think that's too high of an estimate. But that's the least of the problems with the arguments we make in this video, and we'll be delving more into this topic soon enough, so let's move on.
And I mean, look, couldn't you or me or anybody in the world just make up a rape for attention to get revenge out of jealousy, as Toby Turner's mom posted on Facebook? Yeah, you could totally do that. But would you do that?
It doesn't matter whether or not I would do it, or if you would do it. I mean, most people wouldn't commit murder, but some people do. Just because you yourself wouldn't do it, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It happens all the time. And the people who do it can have any one of a number of different possible motivations. They might do it for attention, revenge, jealousy, simple malice, or even boredom. Or they may have been coerced into lying by somebody else. That might sound unconscionable to you, but that's just it, isn't it? You want to believe that nobody would ever lie about rape, and so you've constructed your argument around the assumption that they never do. But here's the thing, Lacey, and I want all of your feminist friends to understand this too. Your feelings don't determine reality.
And how often does that actually happen? The FBI states that between 2 and 8% of rape reports are false, which is actually a low number in the crime world.
Let's assume this 2 to 8 statistic is actually true, just for the sake of argument. If you do the math, you might find that's actually not that low. According to the FBI, there were 79,770 rapes reported to law enforcement in 2013. If 2 to 8% of them are false, then that means there were between 1,595 and 6,381 false reports that year. That may not sound like a whole lot in the grand scheme of a country with over 300 million people, but to put that number into perspective, according to OSHA, there were 4,821 workplace fatalities in the United States in 2014. And let's remember that the vast majority of those fatalities are men, which means if we were to accept the 8% statistic, it would mean a man is more likely to be falsely accused of rape than he is to die in the job. But of course, since you're a feminist, I know you don't care about the rate of male workplace fatalities because you people seem to hand wave it anytime it's brought up.
And we need a volunteer.
Francesca is confiding in you something that happened, possibly a Me Too moment or a story with somebody who's been misbehaving. And so you get to, as the man, get her experience and support her in that moment.
I know this is hard to hear, but your brother just grabbed my butt completely. Like 2 hands, full palms.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, I'm surprised to hear that, but I'm really, really sorry to hear that because that...
I really don't want to watch this idiocracy, so let's move on.
So for this next scenario, Francesca is going to be playing the man who's saying inappropriate things about women. And so Juan here gets to speak up and be an ally.
Brett is a really good guy. Like, I don't know what all these women are talking about. I never saw Brett act that way. I've known him for years.
You're a dude, you're not gonna see it from him.
But I was with him through all of high school, prep school, college. Obviously, she's doing it for the money and for the fame.
How exactly is this inappropriate? This is not something that can be considered hate speech. If a woman can wonder if a boyfriend is cheating, why can't a guy wonder if a woman is using him? What kind of hypocritical sexist logic is this?
Name one of Cosby's accusers. One that got famous.
There's a tennis player.
Time out. Awesome. So in this scenario, we're getting into the debate, right? What if instead of arguing the facts, you came from, what do you suppose it was like for her?
Interesting, so I'm supposed to try to get him to empathize with the victim.
Yeah, try that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
How about you have evidence of the rape before you go around accusing a bunch of men?
Am I really friends with this dude?
What are you talking about? You've known me forever.
Yeah.
It's Chad.
I really hate these people. They need to see this again.
I'm making this video in response to a video by Lacey Green, who argues that people who are accused of rape shouldn't be given the benefit of the doubt because it's unlikely that somebody would lie about it.
3 hours later, and these males are finally ready to be released back into the wild.
You guys made it. You've done man school. Give yourselves a round of applause.
And while there are no cookies for doing the right thing in real life, there are in man school, and prizes.
I learned about Brock. Believe rape accounts, homie.
I need to be more sympathetic in conversation and ask more questions, I think is the big 2 things to take away.
You don't really get too many opportunities to see people sort of open up and actually express what their innermost thoughts and feelings are about these things, especially men. So that was really refreshing for me.
What should women understand about men in the Me Too era?
That men are extremely sensitive. We have feelings and emotions that we're not really taught that we're allowed to have those, and then we sure as heck can't express those.
A little bit of hypocrisy again. You consider walking on the same street as a woman at night rape, you go on a raging bitch fit when you hear things you don't like, and you shit on everyone who doesn't agree with you. Men are more rational, women are more emotional. That's just how it is.
Do you think there should be a man school?
Absolutely. I think there should be a man school, there should be a teen school. Relationships and communication should be taught as part of curriculum.
So will men ever be able to unlearn patriarchy? Maybe not after one class, but hey, the first step is showing up.
Well, I think there should be a hypocrisy school where both feminists and the regressive left should go to in order to learn about their employer, the Qatari Ministry of Truth, so they can learn what real sexism and rape culture is like. It would be quite hilarious to see how well they treat their own society once they've seen what their employer has for them in the land that has completely gone down under. So little Miss Francesca, if you are so sure that men are in need of this school everywhere in the world, go to the country where your employer is based and set up your school there. I'd love to see how you'll end up.